Picture waking up to the headline: German missiles have struck deep inside Russian territory. What was once dismissed as impossible is now unfolding in real time. Or was this disaster always lurking, waiting for the final push? Just hours ago, a Taurus missile, launched from German-controlled hands, exploded on Russian soil. For generations, German leaders swore their weapons would never cross into Russia. Today, Berlin has shattered its own red line, stepping boldly into territory once considered untouchable. This is not a hidden hand or another round of sanctions. This is unmistakable. German technology, German planning, German fingerprints on Russian ground. Europe's era of safe distance has ended. The illusion of security, the buffer of indirect involvement, vanished in an instant. For the first time since the Second World War, Germany is no longer a bystander. It is now a direct combatant against Russia. The consequences are staggering. If you think this is just another headline, think again. Every passing moment increases the risk to your safety, your savings, your job, even the security of your neighborhood. The long-standing peace that defined Europe is slipping away before our eyes. With the point of no return behind us, one question blazes. Has Germany, by action or accident, opened the door to a dangerous new era for all of Europe? To grasp how we reach this breaking point, we must retrace the quiet shifts and growing pressures that drove Berlin to this moment. The path to this crisis was neither sudden nor simple. It began with years of rising tensions and subtle escalations. Not long ago, German leaders made a solemn vow. Their weapons would never be used directly against Russia. So how did we go from those ironclad promises to German missiles exploding on Russian soil? For months, Berlin insisted that sending Taurus missiles to Ukraine was simply too dangerous, too great a risk for Europe and the world. German officials vowed to uphold this red line, calming the public, reassuring allies, and warning that escalation must be avoided at all costs. But the war dragged on. Pressure from allies, especially the United States, intensified. First came the tanks. Then, hesitantly, long-range missiles. German trainers quietly began working with Ukrainian crews. Each step was justified as defending democracy, a noble aim, but one that blurred the boundary between support and participation. Gradually, the red line faded. The pledge that German arms would never strike Russia was quietly abandoned. For the first time since the Second World War, German-made missiles have now hit Russian territory. The barrier that once guaranteed European stability has been crossed. Germany is no longer a bystander. It is, unmistakably, a direct participant. If we fail to see how this shift unfolded, we risk missing a dangerous pattern. A chain of rationalized decisions, each one small, but together leading to consequences no one intended. The world watched these steps, but few realized where they led, until it was too late. The true danger is not just one missile or one nation. It is what this moment signals for the entire European security order, and for the future of everyone who depends on it. To understand how Germany crossed this threshold, we must retrace the crucial decisions that brought Europe to the brink. Each choice, made under pressure, carried a price. In an instant, Germany, the economic heart of Europe, moves from distant supporter to potential target. For decades, Germany represented stability and prosperity, shielded by both geography and diplomacy. That comfort ends overnight. German-made missiles have landed on Russian soil, and Moscow no longer frames this as a Ukrainian provocation. Instead, it is now declared a direct act of aggression, exactly the nightmare scenario many had feared. The Kremlin's response is immediate and unmistakable. Strategic forces shift to high alert. Russian leaders vow retaliation, promising that any response will be mirror-like but asymmetric. Suddenly, Germany faces threats it cannot predict or control. Cyber attacks could freeze banks and cripple communications. Energy blackouts might hit industrial cities without warning. Sanctions, sabotage, or even military maneuvers near German borders are abruptly real possibilities. The era of Berlin's insulation from Eastern chaos is over. Ironically, Germany's strengths, its advanced infrastructure, dependence on imported energy, sprawling logistics, now double as weaknesses. These pillars of modern life are exposed, and any blow could ripple through the continent. Fear spreads through Berlin's streets. Protests break out. Citizens demand answers. Politicians turn on one another, and old Cold War anxieties return with force. The stakes have never been higher. If Germany and its allies misjudge this threat, Europe's energy, financial stability, and fragile social order could unravel within days. Now, every decision in Berlin, Moscow, and Brussels will shape the future. The margin for error has vanished. With the red line crossed, leaders scramble to regain control. But can diplomacy stop the spiral, or is the crisis already beyond containment? Is this the dawn of a new Cold War, or something even more unpredictable, far more dangerous? The consequences of Germany's missile strike are only now beginning to surface, and the signs are ominous. Across Europe, cybersecurity experts warn that Russian operations could cripple entire banking systems, energy grids, and vital communications. Ordinary Germans may soon face rolling blackouts, financial panic, and a return to wartime anxieties not seen in generations. For Germany and NATO, there is no simple way back. Any sign of retreat would be read as weakness in Moscow, risking a spiral of escalation and retaliation. Overnight, the old rules, red lines, and solemn vows have been shattered, replaced by uncertainty and fear. Russia's response will not be a rash outburst. Moscow is preparing something cold and calculated, exploiting vulnerabilities that Germany and its neighbors never imagined. Energy cutoffs, sweeping cyber attacks, and moves that could shake the European economy to its core. Decades of trust that once bound Europe have unraveled in mere hours. Germany, long a symbol of stability, now peers into the abyss. For millions, the peace and prosperity they have always known could vanish in a single misstep. What hangs in the balance is not just political standing or economic comfort, but an entire way of life, one that may disappear if leaders fail to act with wisdom and restraint. With every passing hour, the risks multiply. The decisions made now will echo for generations, shaping the fate of Europe itself. When the unthinkable happens, what real choices remain? For generations, Germans and their neighbors believed peace was permanent, until one dawn shattered that illusion. Overnight, everything changed, and the world as we knew it slipped away. The first lesson is stark. A single act can sweep away decades of stability. Complacency is a silent threat. Believing it cannot happen here has become a risk no one can justify. Every citizen must stay alert. The rules have shifted beneath our feet. We must demand honesty and accountability from our leaders. Decisions made out of sight can unleash chaos for millions. Ordinary people need to insist on open debate and truthful answers. The future is far too fragile for choices shaped by secrecy. Support dialogue and de-escalation, not only force. In this moment, negotiation and wise leadership matter more than ever. If responses are only military, we risk sparking an uncontrollable chain of escalation. Disruption now threatens daily life. Energy, finances, even digital connections are vulnerable. Assess your weak spots. Keep essential supplies. Plan for lost communication. Stay informed. True resilience begins at home and within your community. Remember, the public's voice still counts. Peaceful protest, petitions, and action have tipped history before. When people unite, even distant leaders are forced to listen. The more we demand responsibility, the harder we are to ignore. Ignore these lessons, and the price could be blackouts, vanished savings, even threats to your safety. These risks are not distant. They are at your door. Every hesitation raises the cost for everyone. Germany has crossed a line that cannot be uncrossed. The consequences will ripple through every corner of Europe, testing leaders, citizens, and the very fabric of peace itself. There is no more time to wait. Each passing day sharpens the cost. Germany now stands exposed, no longer shielded by old promises or the comfort of distance. The rules of European security, once thought unbreakable, are being rewritten in real time. The myth of safety, built over generations, has shattered in a single night. Every miscalculation now risks not only Germany's peace, but the very fabric of Europe itself, its prosperity, its unity, its identity. The stakes have not been this high since the last World War. This moment is about far more than missiles or maneuvers. It is about trust, lost in an instant. It is about stability, unraveling at the seams. For the first time in more than 70 years, Germans must face the terrifying prospect that their own cities could become targets again. The crisis bleeds across every border. Energy flows, financial stability, and the faith of millions now hang by a thread. Cyber attacks and unseen threats may come before any siren wails, and no government or business can claim true safety. Europe's post-war era as a haven of peace is slipping away. That is the real danger. Not only the specter of war, but the loss of everything that made Europe what it is today. Hesitation, denial, or a single wrong move will only deepen the price, in lives, livelihoods, and the legacy of a continent. Germany stands at a crossroads that will shape generations. Will it confront these hard truths and adapt, or stumble further, pulling all of Europe into the abyss?